You're about to get stunned by a mind-blowing, jaw-dropping revelation that will make your head spin. This is a story that sounds like it's ripped straight from a Hollywood thriller, but the shocking truth is that Janet Yellen, the U.S. Treasury Secretary, has earned a staggering $7.2 million in speaking fees over the past 2 years. In this video, we're going to peel back the curtain and expose the truth about Janet Yellen's lucrative speaking career. Now you absolutely want to grab your seat and hold on tight, because this scandal will leave you reeling. The U.S. Office of Government and Ethics dropped a bombshell on New Year's Eve, revealing the financial disclosure forms of the incoming Biden administration's top players. And let's just say the numbers didn't disappoint. Former Federal Reserve Chair and now Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen managed to rake in a whopping $7 million in speaking fees over the past 2 years. Turns out she's not just a wizard with money, but with her words too. That's enough to make even the best motivational speaker green with envy. But all jokes aside, what's certain is, like many other Americans, you didn't realize that public speaking was this lucrative, and now you do. You might want to brush up on your speech writing skills. With Yellen raking in so much dough with her speaking engagements and making such a mind-blowing profit from it, her disclosure has now raised a lot of eyebrows and ignited the age-old debate around the revolving door in politics and about what kind of ties our public officials should have to the private sector. It's a tricky situation, and the lines between what's acceptable and what's not for American public servants has become more hazy than ever. On the one hand, we have progressives pushing for appointees without business ties. On the other, we have the allure of the private sector's tantalizing perks. It's like trying to choose between a chocolate cake and a salad. We all know which one is better for us, but damn, that cake is tempting. Some folks on the progressive side have called her speaking fees corruption in plain sight, while others have stuck up for her like a big sister, pointing out that she's been pretty tough on Wall Street in the past. Some progressives even attempted to make all of the scrutiny on Yellen appear like a sexist agenda. Still, others have been quick to point out that Yellen, being a woman, doesn't mean she can be any less transparent about her fees. And just when Americans thought things couldn't get any spicier, Yellen went ahead and sent a letter outlining her ethics compliance steps. It was almost as if she was saying, "Hey, I know I got some dough from these firms, but I won't let it influence my decision-making for at least a year." Talk about a boss move. But let's not jump to conclusions here. After all, the lines around what's acceptable for public officials with private sector ties is still not exactly clear. And Yellen has mainly been on the receiving end of recent probes, largely because of how humongous her earnings from these private sector engagements have been in relation to that of her peers. Rumor has it that she charges more per speech than some people make in an entire year. Her speaking fees are so high, she could buy a small island in the Caribbean if she wanted to. It's been reported that Yellen charged upwards of $250,000 per speech, and her popularity on the speaking circuit has only grown since her appointment as the U.S. Treasury Secretary. But that's not all. Yellen's speaking engagements have also taken her to some of the world's most exclusive locations, including luxury resorts and private islands. She's likewise had the honor of addressing some of the most influential business and political figures on the planet, including heads of state, corporate CEOs, and central bankers. In fact, it's not just Wall Street that wants a piece of Yellen. She's been a hit with corporate giants like Deloitte, Salesforce, and Credit Suisse. She's like the Oprah Winfrey of the business world, except instead of giving away cars, she's getting paid a fortune to give a speech. And her speeches have covered a wide range of topics, from the global economy and financial regulation to income inequality and the future of work. While Yellen's decision to leave the speaking circuit and take up the role of Treasury Secretary was praised by some as a sign of her commitment to public service, it's also raised serious concerns about the interlink between government and big business and the potential for conflicts of interest to arise. And with Americans demanding leaders who have their best interest at heart, not just their own bank accounts, taking a closer look at what's disqualifying and outright unacceptable, and what's not when it comes to public servants, has become a major issue for debate among the American populace. In light of this scrutiny, Yellen had to resign from her consulting post at Magellan Financial Group, the Australia-based asset management company, upon her confirmation as Treasury Secretary. It was like telling your boss, "Peace out," before starting a new job, except Yellen had to do it on a much larger scale. Unsurprisingly, Yellen's knack for earning top dollar for her public speaking engagements saw her bring in nearly $1 million for just 9 speeches to Citibank alone, and over $800,000 for speeches to Citadel, a hedge fund founded by the Republican mega donor Ken Griffin. Guess we can say that her talent for speaking is worth its weight in gold. But Yellen is far from being the only one cashing in on her speaking abilities. In an unexpected twist of events, it appears that a number of top officials in the U.S. government are in on the game of consulting. For context, the esteemed Antony Blinken, the current U.S. Secretary of State, likewise disclosed a lengthy list of clients that he advised through West Exec Advisors, the consulting firm he co-founded with other Obama administration alumni. The disclosure revealed an intriguing list of clients that have sought the services of West Exec Advisors, with this eclectic clients list including investment giant Blackstone, Bank of America, Facebook, Uber, McKinsey & Company, the Japanese conglomerate SoftBank, the pharmaceutical company Gilead, the investment bank Lazard, Boeing, AT&T, the Royal Bank of Canada, LinkedIn, and the venerable Sotheby's Auction House. And while this disclosure succeeded in cracking open WestEx's closely held client list, it has also cracked open the door to speculation and raised eyebrows. Blackstone, for instance, is one of the largest private equity firms in the world, and their involvement with WestEx could suggest that the firm is seeking to leverage political connections to gain an advantage in the market. Similarly, Bank of America's involvement suggests they may seek political influence to advance their interest. Additionally, Facebook and Uber's involvement raises questions about technology's role in government affairs. The involvement of McKinsey & Company, a management consulting firm, may suggest that the government is relying more heavily on private sector expertise to inform policy decisions. In like manner, the involvement of SoftBank, a Japanese conglomerate, and the Royal Bank of Canada, an international financial institution, similarly raises questions about the extent to which West Exec Advisors is operating on a global scale. But here's what's more interesting. Blinken's filing with the Ethics Committee also revealed that he was paid nearly $1.2 million between 2019 and 2020, with an additional estimated $250,000 to $500,000 received for his work in 2021. This amount of money is a considerable sum and clearly suggests that West Exec Advisors is a lucrative business. Now, this gives credence to the underlying concerns about the potential for conflicts of interest and undue influence on government decision-making by the likes of Yellen and her compatriots in power. Yellen is undoubtedly one of the most prominent economic thinkers in the entire nation, making it completely understandable for people to clamor for the opportunity to hear her speak. Also, in an industry where female voices are still shockingly scarce, Yellen's expertise and insight have become even more valuable. And while it's only natural for her to want to be compensated for her time and knowledge, the criticism against Yellen stems from the fact that many view the culture of lavish speaking fees as a superficial attempt to make businesses look more impressive than they truly are. Since her appointment, there have been several reports that her talks were far from what was generally assumed and were not filled with confidential information or advice on how to manipulate government systems. According to some members of the Biden team who supported her appointment, they were not much different from a lucrative book deal in many ways. But even these unsubstantiated claims have done little to address the fact that there's an entire economy built around the illusion of importance, and bringing in superstar economists like Yellen only perpetuates this facade. By having her speak to clients, businesses are able to create a sense of prestige and sophistication that may not necessarily be grounded in reality. According to Beth Rotman, Director of Money and Politics and Ethics at the watchdog group Common Cause, there is this high-end economy built around making people feel important and having a dog and pony show featuring superstar economist turned first woman Fed chair and having her perform for you. It makes your clients feel like you're important. So to a large extent, some of the backlashes against Yellen's speaking fees are likewise heavily hinged on the tension between the value of her expertise and the role she plays in perpetuating a system that often seems more concerned with appearances than substance. Interestingly, Yellen is not the first high-profile figure to face scrutiny over Wall Street earnings. During the 2016 campaign, Hillary Clinton faced immense political blowback from the left over the money earned from Wall Street speeches she gave after leaving the State Department. With this in mind, it remains to be seen how Yellen will navigate these thorny issues and prove her critics wrong while making her mark as the new Treasury Secretary.